So I sort of take it upon myself to follow Dave Rubin's newest podcast, Actual Friends, because I'm really proud of him for making friends. Such cool people in their element, just having a good time. So Dave Rubin, he likes taking money from governments for doing things. That's often, I think, something that he's known for. I could be wrong about that. So he went to Israel, and let's just kind of jump in, hear a little bit about his time in Israel. He recently posted a photo of himself with the most successful war criminal currently alive. And even Dave's audience didn't love that. Dave posts a lot on YouTube, but hey, so do I. So yeah, he just went to Israel just very recently. Let's hear a little bit about his adventures in Israel.
Yeah, and so many of the online people, I think, have such the wrong take on this, and it's so deeply connected to the history.
Okay, immediately, he's clearly reading something off to his lower left.
History of the West and all of these things. I was just like, let me just come here and just try to show a little bit different version of it. I think
it's almost like he realized he was looking off to the left, so he starts looking off to the right.
Many of the online people, I think, have such the wrong take on this, and it's so deeply connected to the history of the West and all of these things. I was just like, let me just come here.
Yeah, in the sense that the West was behind the founding of the settler colonial ethno-state of Israel in efforts to maintain control of a region that was like destined to slip away.
Yeah. And just try to show a little bit different version of it. I think we'll succeed at that. But actually, the best way to kick us off here is that I did a live show in Tel Aviv. And so, there's really two major cities.
Okay, dude. I don't know if I need the layout.
Start going off, and everyone at the same time all looking at the phone because they all get the alerts on the phone. And the Houthis did shoot another rocket. Fortunately, they're shooting a lot less these days because Israel is basically taking them out. But I think we have a picture.
Yeah, Israel is sending their munitions and exploding them in whatever countries they feel like it. So that could be Yemen, that could be Syria, that could be Lebanon. Palestine, obviously, is not their land, but they've been occupying it for so long that people like Dave don't give a fuck.
Because it's like, if you're going to be trapped in somewhere, you may as well be trapped in a place with a hell of a lot of booze with 150 people who like you. That's pretty good.
Dave, wait. These people, I guess, are used to it. You're 2 minutes from starting a comedy routine, and you're in the zone. Did you?
Not very interesting to me.
Whether it's sports or relationships or whatever, you have to come here and talk to some of these women that dealt with the most beyond imagination, the stories. I mean, you'll see. I'm not a big crier.
But you are a big anecdote guy. Dave loves nothing more than an anecdote. He's like, oh, can I hinge all my beliefs on that anecdote? All right, let's hear from Russell. He's joining the conversation. He's like, I did not sexually assault any of the women that are, in court saying I did.
Your past in general. It's one thing with the court case and proclaiming your innocence. It's another thing with saying what you just said. All my years of promiscuity and crazy partying and all those things, and how you have changed and evolved. Internally, have you forgiven yourself for those?
I guess that would be an interesting question if it was not in light of him being charged with rape or accused of rape. Accused of rape, I guess, I don't know the language to use. I guess it's accused. I want to learn more about the legal system just in general.
Times, is that something you needed to do? Where are you inside right now?
Hey, we've been talking about forgiveness on the main channel. Let's hear this out. Hear what's up.
What's going on so publicly and with your family, with your daughters?
Well, I'm not the relevant tribunal when it comes to forgiveness. I want and have received the forgiveness of God for the way that I lived as a selfish person who put my wants and needs ahead of God and the values.
Isn't that kind of presumptuous? I'm not a big God person, but isn't that kind of presumptuous to say that God has forgiven you for something? Like, if you're a religious person, won't you be like, the forgiveness that matters to me is God's forgiveness, but you won't say I know for sure that God forgives me, right? I mean, I guess you would. I guess you'd be like, that's the basis for it. But it sort of sounds like he's spoken to God and like gotten that forgiveness verbally.
Of God. But because I can speak absolutely openly and candidly about that, knowing that I slept around a lot, I had a lot of one-night stands, and therefore, due to the volume, I slept around. Because, I don't know if you guys have hung with a lot of, I know you guys have hung with a lot of famous people. Being famous,
I wonder why he said it that way. Like, he was probably thinking, like, Sage is not going to care if I say this. But then he's like, oh, Dave's going to care if I say he hasn't hung out with famous people.
Stands, and therefore, due to the volume, I slept around. Because, I don't know if you guys have hung with a lot of, I know you guys have hung with a lot of famous people.
He just says the opposite of what he was about to say.
Obviously, it's innocent till proven guilty, but in the public eyes, we all know it's guilty till proven innocent.
Well, it's on the strength of the allegations. It's really all about credibility and all about what the allegations are. And when you look at them and if they sound credible, and there are all different elements that build the credibility of a case. There's all kinds of different factors to take into account. The number of accusations, whether there are police reports filed, whether the accusations, whether there's corroborating evidence from the time of the alleged incidents. There's all kinds of different factors that, yes, the public will take into account and say, does this sound credible or does it not sound credible? This whole BS of people, the court of public opinion. It's like, I'm sorry, are we not allowed to form opinions? Like, we're not convicting people based on public opinion. We're just speaking based on public opinion. You know what I mean? People always complain about public opinion, the court of public opinion. It's like, as if the person complaining about that does not themselves form opinions based on what they hear and read. The idea is just that you shouldn't be locked away without a trial being done. But you're allowed to, people have their opinions.
And there's no question that a lot of famous men really do enjoy the opportunities that come with being famous if you're a single person. And I have to say that's
because of the power, Russell. The fame is a way to get the power.
It's hard enough. That's hard enough without getting into the confusion of it. So I'm pretty good on the inside because when we face great trials, we learn a lot. As Julian Assange said,
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the court says, buddy. We'll see what the court says.
King of heaven.
Russell, I think you would dig this town. That was a long way. That was a long way of saying.
Get me over there.
Yeah, you should be in Jerusalem. There's just simply no doubt about it.
Yeah. All right, Dave. How much they paying you, Dave? Are you aware of it this time at least? Are you you're not bamboozled this time by the money? No?
Questions that those of us on the outside already knew the answer to.
Oh my God, they're talking about that book they were making fun of on the Majority Report. Okay, of course they are. Of course they are.
The verification of the legitimacy of our position. And
okay, let's see what they say about free speech, and then we'll close up this video segment. Because obviously, there's a lot of interesting moments here for people who say they're fans of free speech. Okay, they're talking about UK politics.
Yesterday, with all the crushing, that's my word today, that Donald Trump continues to do to these universities where there have been free speech debates, but all the hatred coming towards Jewish people after October 7th. And I am one.
What? Like, what is even the logic there? Like, the hatred that Jews have experienced after October 7th? Like, we've talked about this on the pod many times. Like, anti-Semitism is real, obviously, but, like, anti-Islam sentiment is actually more of a big problem. I mean, look at Donald Trump. Starting tomorrow, Republican President Donald Trump, Republicans are banning people from 12 different countries. There's a lot more Muslims in those countries than Jews. They're all people of color. There's no majority lighter skin tone countries being banned. I'm just saying, like, it's Muslim ban 2 or 3.0. I don't know what we're at this point, but it's like Okay, I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of non-Muslim people, but it's like, it just comes to mind because that sort of institutional oppression would not be directed at Jews and would not be directed at Israel, or it would not be. We would never say, let's find the countries where Jews are most existing and ban those countries from traveling to our place, like we would with Muslim people or people of color in the United States, where the U.S. government is extremely racist and Islamophobic. Anti-Semitism is a problem. You got the world's most hoarding wealth individual, and you got Steve Bannon throwing up what appear to be Nazi salutes. To me, certainly appear to me to be Hitler salutes that Steve Bannon threw up and that Elon Musk threw up. I think they're close friends also, too. Or they would be if they could just figure out which people to hate. But yeah, anyways, getting back to this, I mean, it's just wild to hear people talking like this after October 7th. The anti-Semitism that Jews have faced, it's like that's not what's going on. What's going on is after October 7th, Israel has massively attacked Palestine, killing and displacing probably hundreds. I mean, literally displacing probably over 1 million people, if not 2 million. Killing probably hundreds of thousands. We'll find out eventually, and it seems to clearly be over 100,000 human beings that they've murdered, tons of children and journalists, and like, so Israel does that, says they're doing it to protect Jews, makes everything anti-Israel, supposedly anti-Jew, and like, any rise in anti-Semitism is obviously because of that. It's not because of October 7th. October 7th made people sympathize with the victims. It's Israel's response that leads to a rise in anti-Semitism. Obviously, when they say they're doing it for the Jews. But yeah, this is always an interesting thing to watch because, like, she's a fan of the crushing of universities, but she also says she likes free speech.
One that truly does believe that you have to allow people to say what they want to say, because the line is subjective. It will constantly be moving. And even if it offends me, that doesn't necessarily mean that it was wrong.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she's speaking out against the crushing of universities. She sounded like she was a fan of it.
Or hateful. We don't know the intent. What I do know is if I'm an employer and someone spews hatred about Jewish people, I have the right then to fire them. There will be repercussions for hate speech, but I don't think you can throw someone in jail. What is that line? And that's where it's too dangerous.
Okay, great. Okay, she's against jailing people for their speech. Let's hear Dave's response.
Well, you're making the perfect distinction that the founders made between the government doing something and private people deciding who to associate with. So yeah, I'm completely with you on that. I think.
Okay, so cool. Yeah, Dave is against the government cracking down on people. By the way, like, what they're saying is important. Anti-Semitism, it's not illegal to be anti-Semitic. Like, you're allowed to be anti-Semitic. You're allowed to do like an anti-Semitic protest. I mean, I'm not gonna show up, frankly, but you're allowed to do that. The Charlottesville protest, like, I don't think that should be illegal. I just think the president shouldn't come out and support it, ideally.
The other confusion, of course, is that, people are confused between speech and actions. It's one thing if you're out there with any idiotic or wonderful sign.
And it's another if you co-write an op-ed that, about your school. All right, I think we're good here. I don't know, maybe one more little tidbit, which I was obviously referring to Rumeysa Öztürk from Tufts, who was finally released after like 6 weeks in a Louisiana prison for not committing any crime, but contributing to an op-ed telling Tufts to listen to their students about their investment in the Zionist ethno-state of Israel.
This week who burned a Quran, and no one wants anyone to burn someone else's holy book and offend other people and everything else. Or I can't say nobody, but generally speaking, you wouldn't want someone to burn the Old Testament or the New Testament, obviously. But once we're jailing people based on religious blasphemy laws, and it only goes one way, they wouldn't have arrested somebody for burning the New Testament, obviously, or the Old Testament, obviously.
Right. Because Muslims are given extra privileges by Western countries. I forget what country that was in. Quran burning. It was in France. Yeah, I thought it was in France. All that weird shit's in France. Yeah, but Muslim people are given too much support by Western states, Dave, and Christian people are not given the same support. Okay. Interesting take. Okay, Actual Friends, great podcast, really fun content. Let me know if I should stop watching it. This is a podcast.